Hey, what's going on, guys? Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? I am the possible. You are what's possible. And I want to welcome you guys into today's broadcast. I want to check, well, one of the things that I want to check for this morning before we get started is seeing whether or not there's a lag. I've been working on some of my technical difficulties. I've been seeing some lag in some of the videos. And so I just want to make sure that I don't see a lag this morning and that the audio is working correctly. But I wanted to share this morning, why aren't you happy? Why aren't you happy? I'm going to actually add maybe a separate title to it, AKA lose this, right? And get more happy. Lose this and get more happy. Happiness is one of the things that is just a universal desire, right? No matter who you are in this world, we all can identify with wanting, needing, desiring to be happy and to be happier in our lives. And I was on a podcast. I did a podcast interview yesterday. And as we're going through the interviewer says something to me that really stuck out for me, right? Because sometimes you can get caught up in, doing your thing, living according to your rules, seeing life a certain way, experiencing certain things. And you can start to think that everyone is experiencing this, or sometimes you can not even about other people, but it's more about within your own little bubble. You can forget how far you've come, right? You can forget how far you've come because my backstory was one of despair, drama, violence, a lot of fear, a lot of confusion, a lot of unhappiness, a lot of bottled up emotions that were never expressed, or when they were expressed very violently. Some of you guys have heard my story. I was a thief. I was a liar. I was a cheater. I was addicted to so many different things, whether it would be marijuana, opium, pornography. I was just a mess. I was a mess. And the mess that I was in my early 20s, right? My late teens, early 20s, was really a projection and reflection and really a desperate cry for help based on the brokenness of my formative years, right? Just kind of give you some of the backdrop. The formative years, right? Being overweight, being a stutterer, not growing up with a mom and a father in the home, not having, quote, role models in my life, being abused, being molested, being tormented, being bullied, right? All of these things in my early childhood really created in me this this idea of myself, right? That I was never enough in and of myself. I could never possibly measure up to anything or to anyone. And I really began to self-hate, to self-discriminate, judge. I condemned myself. All of these different expressions of self-hate and self judgment and condemnation. Like I said, in my later years, in my early 20s, it became this real violent, real strange dude to be around. Now I could hide it well around the people, like family members, or if I was sliding into church every once in a while, I could hide it really well. But I was extremely sad, extremely depressed, extremely lonely, extremely broken, and I was just an emotional mess. I was a mental mess, always stressed out, always fatigued, always anxious. And so I don't know if you can identify with any of that. But I say all of that. I say all of that really off the cuff this morning because I really wanted to just get to a main point. Lose this and get more happy, right? Why aren't you happy? I wanted to share one thing that came up for me in this interview yesterday because I know what it means to not be happy. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt and two hats to match. I know what it means to not be happy. I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. I know what it is to be unhappy. But I also know what it means to be happy, to be content, to be satisfied, to wake up each morning and to be okay with myself, to be okay with life, to be okay with the situations that come and go in and out of my life, to be okay with the changing of the times and changing of the seasons and changing of the situations. I'm not perfect, never will say that I am, but I'm learning to be very okay, to be at a place of peace and rest internally. And I think that has great value. I think a lot of people desire to be at peace, to be at rest, to not be anxious, to not be fearful, to not be always agitated, right? Can you relate to that? Always agitated, always frustrated, always angry, right? Guys, I've been there and I know what that life looks like. I know what that frustrated, angry, irritated life looks like, that very unhappy life. I know what the unhappy life looks like. And so, again, I'm just saying all of this stuff off the cuff because I want to get to the point. So I'll stop talking about the past and I'll get to the point. I'm on this podcast interview yesterday. Had a fantastic time going through the questions. I'm answering these questions. And the podcast host says something to me that was so profound in the moment for me. And I just thought that I would share it with you all. She says, "You seem to be very okay with not having control." See, I didn't realize how okay I've become with not being in control. But the more we talked about it, the more we chopped it up, the more I dove into something that's already operating into my life. And I reflected this morning. I said, man, I bet you there's a lot of people in this world who would love to hear and to understand and to know how to be a little happier by being a little less in control. See, control sometimes controls us. I don't know about you, but if you've ever, if you're anything like the old me, and sometimes the old me still rises. I want to control the narrative. I want to control the situation. I want to control the outcome. I want to control the people. I want to control my money. I want to control my finances. I want to control my wife. I want to control my kids. I want to control my church. I want to control my religion. I want to control my situations. I want to control my outcomes and circumstances. I want to control my job. I want to control these lives. I want control, man. I want to control because I want to dictate. I want to dominate. I want to rule. Ego. The ego wants to rule and dominate and put a stranglehold on everything. And this is what I've learned. There's not much peace in that approach to life. You may think it is. Many times we're conditioned that that's the only way to go. Dominate, grind, rule, subdue, overtake. And we'll even use scriptures for y'all Christians out there. We'll even use scriptures, Genesis 1. Well, God said that we were to dominate over all things. He said that we were to put, that we were created for dominion. Dominion authority, dominion power. We'll preach it from the pulpit, man. But sometimes those of us who are sitting in the pews, what we're getting, what we're perceiving is that we're supposed to be dominant over all things, that we're supposed to control every outcome, that we're supposed to control all of our circumstances, that we're supposed to have this grand authoritative hold on life. And I always say, you know, as we always say, right? Or we like to say within our culture, how's that working for you? How is trying to control everything in your life? How's that working for you? I don't have to tell you. I don't have to convince you that it's not working. I don't have to convince you that it's frustrating. I don't have to convince you that it's, making you not so happy. Because control of certain things, they just torment us. Outcomes, results, situations. This stuff ain't really for us to control, y'all. And I've learned and I'm learning that the more I let go of control, the happier I am. Now, that does not mean to be irresponsible. That does not mean that I don't, own my stuff. What it means is I'm not a control freak. What it means is I've learned to value myself apart from my success or ideas of success. I've learned to see my worth apart from or outside of my work. I no longer have to grind for greatness. I've learned to what do they call it? Re-engineering. I don't grind for my greatness. I grind from my greatness. My greatness is the starting line, while I used to play the finish line. See how that goes? Like if you were a runner, right? Greatness, power, importance, significance, worth, value, relevance. For many of us, we want to control everything because we're so afraid of not being successful, not being relevant, not being important, or even worse, and this is a real big one, not being those things in other people's eyes. We care so much about what other people say, about what other people think. And we are just so hell-bent on impressing people and being seen a certain way, the personas and the masks and the airs that we put on. And underneath it all, man, we are terrified of just being us. We're terrified of just letting God be God. We're terrified of just letting life be. On this last couple of years, I've been on this journey, y'all, of this thing called contemplation, contemplative prayer, contemplative lifestyle. All it is, guys, is this acknowledgement that we are on this autopilot of dualism or dualistic thinking. I know these are some heavy words. Maybe you never heard of some of this stuff. But the point is that really, just to make it make sense, is that we are born into the idea that we must name and we must judge and we must attach certain meanings to things in our lives. And when we do that, we have to then control those things. Otherwise, we fear that those things will have some sort of negative connotation, some sort of negative meaning on us. If I don't control the situation, maybe it won't come out the way that I want it to come out. And what I've learned is, if you call it God, universe, infinite wisdom, energy, you name it, man, whatever you call the creator, I call him God, creator, Jesus Christ. I call him my savior. But whatever you call him, man, he's way wiser, much smarter than me. That's the life I live. God, creator, you are way smarter than me. And what I learned is that, you know what, man, what other people think about me really ain't as important to my personal peace as I once thought it was. Man, this thing called happiness, satisfaction, contentment, peace, rest, happiness, man, it really ain't dependent on what other people think about me or what they say or what they do or what they don't do or what they don't say. Man, this thing is something that me and my creator can create and indulge in and experience every day of my life. And it don't matter what nobody else say, think, or do as it concerns me. Guys, the more we control, the more responsibility we put on ourselves. Undue responsibility, undue load, undue pressure, undue weight. I know I'm saying a lot of things. I'm just throwing a lot of stuff out there. I didn't have a script today. I ain't got 3 bullet points. I ain't got my little PowerPoints. I ain't got my little notes. I'm just freestyling, man. I'm just freestyling because, again, I wanted to test this new setup to make sure that the landline and that I'm not lagging and glitching when I broadcast. But the other purpose was just to show up and just to share some things. Because when she said, man, you are really at peace with not being in control, I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, because control dominated me. Control ran me crazy. Guys, even if we took nature, let's go with nature this morning. Yesterday, I was out for a walk and I took a video, grabbed my phone, and I took this video and I just kind of spoke over the video. I may release it, I may not, but I kind of just was walking through like the grass and there were some trees and what I was noticing was, now I don't know if you ever noticed this or not. Maybe you're outside right now, maybe you're not, maybe you're in your home, but wherever you are, if you were to take some time this morning or take some time at some point today, guys, if you go outside, you find anything that's, what we consider nature, find anything that we consider nature, trees, grass, flowers, the animals, the squirrels in the tree, the birds, the butterflies. I don't care what you find. Find anything that we would consider nature. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to acknowledge, observe the fact that it works perfectly. It works perfectly without our intervention, without our help. That's fire, baby. Nature knows what to do without our help. We don't have to engineer it. We don't have to create it. We don't have to invent it. We don't have to put our hands on nothing, man. And when I was walking through that grass and looking at them trees, I was just in awe. Like, wow. I already had respect, but I mean, my respect went through the roof because it was one of those moments, right? We call them paradigm shifts. We call them aha moments. We call them the light bulb coming on. Dude, when I was walking through, I said, man, why would I ever doubt? Why would I ever try to control? Why would I ever try to overstep? Why would I try to dominate something that works so perfectly? And I began to parallel the nature, the things that I saw in the natural, in the physical. I began to analyze my inner workings. And I began to say, oh man, all the dreams, the hopes, the visions, all the things that I desire to have in my life, where I am today, none of it did I truly plan. It just has a way of working. And what I discovered in that moment, just like I was pondering over the things that she was saying later on in that podcast, God has designed things in such a way that if we trust, how we say, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. Well, let's go a little deeper. Trust this thing. Now, I call it the river of life based upon my study, based upon where I am in my journey. I've come to know life as this river of life. And I was teaching this with my boys the other day. We were watching some whitewater rafting, right? And I was like, yo, man, look at that whitewater rafting, 6 people jump in a raft and the waters are just going. And, there's some choppy waters and then there's some real calm, smooth waters. And then there's some up climb, boom, man. And then there's some waterfalls, right? Ain't that like life? There's all these little different dips and ebbs and flows and different windy turns to life, right? But it's like the river knows where it's going, man. It knows where it's going. And all you got to do is get into that river and get into that raft and let that thing ride, man. Let that thing ride. But see, when you ride, you can relax. You can relax, meaning relaxing in the navigation. I want my life to go like this. I want that person to say this. I want this to be the outcome. I want that to be the outcome. I want to get this real quick. I want this by the end of the year. I want this by the end of the month. I want this by the end of the week. I want this by the end of today. We always trying to control stuff, man. Nah, man. Ride the river, man. Ride the wave. It's way more peaceful, way more calm. I hope some of this makes sense because it is some very esoteric type of stuff, some very contemplative stuff kind of woven in there. Again, guys, I'm just freestyling. I'm going to make more videos where I really chop these things up in bite-sized pieces, make them make more sense. But I just wanted to flow today and say, man, why aren't you happy? Probably one, if you're the right person, if I'm speaking to you, you're one of the reasons that you may not be happy is because you're trying to control too much. Some things are not for you to control. Sometimes there's areas in your life where you just need to really, truly, as us Christians say, let go and let God. See, we'll say that, Let go and let God. Let Jesus take the wheel. Let Jesus take the wheel. Well, then do it then. Well, then do it then. Like, let him take the wheel for real. I'm gonna share one more concept that's kind of woven in here. Again, I'm just freestyling, right? No real, cool, right? Okay. My coach taught me, and this was a game changer for me, guys. A game changer. I shared it a couple weeks back on some other videos, but it was mixed in there, right? It was mixed in there. Is the fact that we get to assign meaning to things. That's what we do. We assign meaning to things. As far as I can understand, the majority. Now, there is a thought out there that nothing has a inherent meaning, like nothing. Everything is based upon interpretation, and we get to assign a meaning to a thing. And based on the meaning that we assign to a thing, then we have an idea about it, and that idea then triggers certain emotions and emotional states. And based upon those emotional states, we then interpret that thing or that person to either be negative or positive, right? That dualistic mind. I'm gonna judge it. Blue side, red side, good, evil, God, devil, you, me, us, them, dualism, right? I'm gonna find a way to duel. I'm gonna find a way to control, right? Because I don't want you to get one up on me. I don't want you to know more about this than me. I don't want you to advance faster than me, right? We see it play out in corporate America. We see it play out in sports, athletics. We see it play out even in the business world, right? We're always competing. We're always, jockeying for position, right? Okay. So we assign meanings to things. And based on those meanings, those things trigger those emotions. We have emotions, we have experiences, and they mean something to us. And those meanings, they stick with us. Well, guys, in this contemplative lifestyle, this contemplative lifestyle, this contemplative prayer, this contemplative outlook on life, it's just rooted in contemplation, and contemplation is rooted in giving yourself permission to pause, step back from a situation, and not control it, not control the narrative so much by trying to quickly assign what it means. Guys, I don't know how many times it's happened. It probably happens on a daily basis, like daily basis. My wife says something. Could mean this, could mean that. What do? The more I practice this, the more I step back, give it space, don't judge it, don't assign it meaning, seek clarity from her. My children, they do something. The old me, the autopilot me, oh, they did that. Okay, well then that means this. I'm about to punish them. I'm about to tell them about themselves. I'm about to let them know what they need to be doing. No, well, the today me, the more peaceful, the more happy me. Oh, that's what they did. Okay, that's all that they did. I'm not going to be quick to assign a meaning to it. I ain't going to be quick. Autopilot. Oh, that just means that. Maybe it don't mean that. Maybe it don't mean that. Maybe you just need to slow down and give yourself some space, back up off that thing. You don't know what that means yet. Okay, back up off of it, seek clarity. Now, based upon seeking clarity, you come to a new conclusion. Then you can proceed as necessary. More times than not, and I'm just telling my story, more times than not, the autopilot judgment was off. She said this. Can't believe she said that. Are you serious? Go see clarity. Guess what? That ain't what she meant. That just wasn't what she meant. She had a whole different her mind was somewhere else. She was thinking about something else. Whatever she said, came out, and it did not mean what I originally interpreted it to mean. My temptation, right? That temptation to assign a meaning to it and to judge it and to categorize it, right? That has always led to more confusion, a chaotic relationship, arguments, resentment, right? All of those are the unhappies, man. See, I hope you see how it's all tying together. because we judge and we duel and we isolate things and we categorize things and we judge things so quickly that we never get to this thing called happy, because those are all forms of control. They're all forms of control. Lose this, get more happy. Or less of this, control, less of this, more happy, right? Just thinking of some weird titles to kind of name this, but less control, man, more happy. That's the equation. If it was a mathematical equation, less control, more happy. Some of you guys out there today, you're so in control, and you're not really in control anyway. It's like an illusion. It's really like an illusion. You think that you're in control, but you're never quite as in control as you think you are. At the end of the day, man, all we're doing is getting up and doing the best we can. Now, you got some gurus in the world, some superstars, some Instagram stars or Facebook stars or Hollywood stars, people that are just full of ego. They will either flat out tell you that they have all the answers, or they will, or they just won't allude to the fact that they're just as broken and busted up as the rest of us. So they won't say anything. But the truth is, ain't nobody really in control. We're just getting up, doing the best that we can do with what we have. And back to my other point, this infinite universe, this amazing God, this amazing creator, right, is taking you down a river, and you may be in that raft and you may be trying to swim up. You know how you get, that oar, you're trying to go upstream, but the river is taking you. So, because those currents can be hard. Those currents are going down, and you're trying and struggling to go up, and the river just takes you there. It wasn't because you're so brilliant. It wasn't because you're so smart. It wasn't because you figured it all out. In fact, if you listen to many of our success stories in the world, the majority of them, probably a good 90-10% split. 90% of successful people tell you how I got there was never the path in which I thought that I would get there with, right? Oh, I struck it rich in this, but I was over here trying to do this. Oh yeah, one day I got a phone call from so-and-so, and they said, come over here and do this. And then that just led to that. And then that just led to that. And then that just led to that. And then poof, my life is amazing now. It wasn't because we really controlled anything or figured anything out. Most things are just coming together for us in season, right? With the right people at the right time. You did the right thing. You may have said the right thing or done the right thing, or you're just around the right people. And that river is taking you. Most of life is a mystery, but we're trying to control. And again, guys, I'm just freestyling this morning, but the crust of what I'm saying is that because of that podcast interview, and I'm gonna polish this up so I can really explain it a lot better, right? In a way that you can really receive it and really understand it, because this morning is just a total dump, right? Just a total freestyle dump. So if you're rocking with me this morning, live or on the replay, thank God for you, because I just dumped this morning. But I pray that you still got something out of it, right? It still serves a purpose. It still serves a purpose. But I'm just getting very comfortable with myself. I'm growing leaps and bounds with just being okay with just flowing in the moment. But yeah, man, the less I control things, the less I seek to control, the happier I am. Controlling other people, controlling the situation, controlling the narratives, controlling the outcome, the results. I don't seek, like I told the young lady on the podcast, I'm learning in life to not try to control those things that I don't believe that God has assigned me to control. I do believe that my internal state, I do believe that my thoughts, those are things that he has given us to control. That's my current belief. I once heard, because I'm always reading and always seeking to increase my capacity to serve. I once heard this individual say that, no one knows anything. No one knows anything. He says we come to conclusions. And so it's just this idea, right? That what we call truth isn't everybody's truth. Truth isn't everybody's truth, right? My truth could be opposite of your truth. My faith could be opposite of your faith. He said, but we all just come to conclusions, most of which are temporary. Right now, my current conclusion is the less I control, the happier I am. Now, that might change 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, God willing, I'm still around. That might change. That approach to life might change. I don't know. I really don't care. I'm just flowing. I'm just letting the river take me, man. I'm a very happy person, a very content person, a very satisfied person. And the acid test is, can you be that way when you don't have the money, when you don't have the things? And I can tell you, honestly, yeah, because I've been reposed. I've been kicked out the house. I've been, foreclosed on. I've been the house burned down. I've been rock bottom. And God has still been my anchor. And I'm growing in this idea that I don't have to control anything. The more I let go, guys, the happier I am. It's almost like the more I let go of this control thing, the more my hands are open to receive this content thing, this happiness thing, this satisfaction thing, right? There's a lot of people with money in the world, a lot of people with things in the world. How many of us out there truly have peace, joy, happiness, right? How many of us are really abiding and living in this place called I'm like really happy. I'm like really content. I'm like really okay with me and with others and with life. And I'm like really okay. Like it ain't the front. It ain't some, facade, mask, right? Masquerades. I'm like, honestly, man, I'm honestly good. And I believe that sets me up to be of greater service. That sets me up. That suppresses the ego. That suppresses those fears that I once had. That suppresses the idea that if I don't get this thing just right, then I'm ineffective. That's a lie. And you may need to hear that. Perfection does not equal effectiveness. Your perfection does not equal effectiveness. Somebody out there might need to hear that. You're so perfect in everything that you do, everything that you put out, everything that you promote. You look so good. You look so good. You're controlling your persona. You're controlling your identity. You're controlling it, and by controlling it, guess what else you're doing? You're in a position to have to maintain it. You have to maintain it. Oh, and you don't want to slip up, do you? You don't want to slip up, do you? I know it's hard work, man. It's hard work. I've been there. I've done that. It's hard work. Matter of fact, I'm recording some content later on today about that very thing, about having to try to keep up with a look and a personality, because you're really afraid that people won't accept you, right? Just as you are. So the mask has to be perfect. The presentation has to be perfect. What you present to the world has to be perfect, because you are definitely afraid that we won't love you and accept you and appreciate you based upon what you are. I've been there. That's why I can speak to it. That's why I know you. That's why I know you. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, woman. Whew, let it go. Let it go. It don't mean what you think it means. It does not mean what you think it means. All right, guys. That is it. Time to wrap it up. Got my latte this morning, man. And my latte is getting cold. So it's time to wrap it up. That's it. Hope you guys got something from this, man. I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. I'm believing in y'all this morning, man. Michael, I see you. What's going on? My brother Mike says, I am. Author is in the building. Author says, yes, self-discovery is key at the end of the day. See somebody here on the scope. Your daddy, all right, says, love the message. Thank you so much. Author says, I feel you, brother. Amen. Amen. Mike says, I am. Yes, you are. Lawana says, hard work. Thank God he set me free. Absolutely. All right. That's it. Signing off. Love you guys. Believing in you guys. Praying for you guys. As always, this is Travell C.W. Lynch. Mr. What? I am the possible. You are the possible. And you are what is possible. Until next time. Peace.